Hello, and welcome to Paramecia, a One Piece fancast where we review the latest chapter of One Piece and have a different One Piece related discussion every week. My name is Franz.
My name is Dead Inside, John.
And this week we'll be doing chapter 908, Reverie Begins.
Chapter 908, The Not Empty Throne. That's for the end,
Yeah. Oh boy. So, yeah, again, Reverie the entire time. This entire arc, it seems like it's going to be this whole, like, we're just gonna get straight into it. No fucking jokes.
Yeah.
Fucking, the first page.
No meme.
It's still the Eurolumbus cover story, and the time that we're given now is 3:00 p.m. Pirate Deeds Planner, and it's just him and his quote question mark son.
Yeah. Orlumbus
like,
and Corlumbus or whatever.
Corlumbus, yeah. Just there, chilling. Nothing important. Next page.
Yeah, I will say this is the longest one of all of the Straw Hat Grand Fleet members. This one's been going on for like a while.
I hope it leads somewhere, to be honest, because I want a little more than just him being extremely meticulous.
Yeah. While it's funny and gives him a kind of like a little bit of a character now, like, okay, like he's, Orlumbus is a little like meticulous dude. It's just kind of like, well, please lead somewhere.
Yeah. Next page, we actually get into the chapter, and the scene is the Pangea Castle in the Mingling Plaza.
Oh, it's so cute.
And open up straight out of the gates with Princess Manchelle saying, "How does it feel, Shirahoshi?" Turns out she healed Shirahoshi from the bruising that she received from being severely manhandled
yes.
last chapter. And, it's a whole cute scene. Manchelle is on Shirahoshi's wrist, like healing her. Rebecca is on Shirahoshi's lap, making the best comment, saying, "The world's biggest princess and the world's smallest princess together."
It's so fucking good. This shot of all of them together, even like Viola's right there and like Vivi's looking on. But man, like, oh, the panel of Manchelle like there with their arms open, like, oh, how does it feel? Oh man, she was so cute in Dressrosa, and then seeing fucking Shirahoshi even more cute, just like, oh, like, thank you. Oh man, I love both of them. We must protect them.
Protect all princesses 2018.
Yeah. Dude, protect all princesses. Yes, I'm about it.
Next page, like, really gets into all the men talking as usual.
We're just a bunch of dudes doing dude things.
On a serious note, it's a very nice interaction between King Neptune and Miosgard, mostly. So, like, King Neptune being like, "Oh, there's good men and bad men," just like with fishmen. Like, "Thanks, Miosgard, for helping me realize that, I shouldn't be racist." And Miosgard starts like mentioning that, like, if anything happens, he will do everything in his power, use his privilege 100% of the time to protect Princess Shirahoshi.
Yeah, I really liked that he stated, like, for the next 7 days of the Reverie, like, I will be with Shirahoshi the entire time. Like, I will be with her. And then, yeah, he does state, like, oh, like, I will use, basically, like, I'll use the privilege that, like, of the standing that I was born into to protect Shirahoshi should anything happen. And I do like Leo, like, oh, like, so if you order it, we can kick someone's ass. And then Miosgard is like, yeah, like, if a fight were to break out, I would take full. He's kind of, he says it like, kind of like, well, yes, if a hypothetical fight were to break out, I would hypothetically take responsibility, because you can tell he's kind of startled, like, what the fuck, this dude wants to fight.
Yeah, like, Leo just wants to stab somebody, and Miosgard's like, "Oh, sure."
Miosgard's bout.
And then the last two panels of this are just so good because Pell shows up.
The will of P. He cannot die.
Shut the fuck
up. He is immortal, the will of P.
He shows up and he's like, oh, I should have been here to protect you, blah blah. And Vivi mentions like, oh hey, where the fuck's my father, Pell? And he answers saying that like I gave him that ... letter. He's speaking with Marine Admiral Fujitora.
Yeah.
And Dressrosa's King Riku. Oh. So
yeah,
that's a huge bomb to drop on us in like fucking page 3.
Yeah, so in the other translation, it's the same, but it says earlier ... he was given a letter by Marine Admiral Fujitora. So now he's in a meeting with him and King Riku of Dressrosa.
Yeah, maybe Fujitora like.
So I
reached
again
out
I don't
to
know
him
the
or something.
I don't know like what the Raws say or whatever, but from both translations I can assume that Fujitora, this is all his doing, because both of these kingdoms, Alabasta and Dressrosa, were both terrorized by Shishibukai, and Fujitora's main goal this entire reverie is to abolish the Shishibukai system. So it would make sense that Fujitora would actively seek out King Riku and Cobra.
Yeah, like there's nothing suspect about it or anything. It's just like really exciting to see this like subplot that's been in the works since, gosh, for quite a while. Because I would say it's been in the works since Vegapunk Island, when Smoker was like, these old Shichibukai folk are pretty fucked up, ain't they?
I mean, I would agree, and also argue that even further. I think at the end of Alabasta, like there was like shades of this kind of brought up, because remember, Smoker didn't want to take credit for what happened in Alabasta. He was like, no, like I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah, that's true.
And so I think it. I mean, because Smoker saw what Crocodile was doing there. Like he wasn't just oblivious. Like he saw it with his own eyes. So I think that is like the first kind of like, oh, Oda's kind of pushing it on us, and then obviously at the end of Dressrosa and Vegapunk Island, and now it's just like, all right, like now we're actually doing this. It is really cool.
Now 800 chapters later, the plan actually gets into fruition.
Yeah, basically. No, I think it's really cool. Then the next page, it hard cuts again, as with the Reverie, to the Celestial Dragon gates right outside of Pangaea Castle. So it shows a little diagram, and Pangaea Castle, the front doors, there's a gate leading out into what I assume is the city, and then there's 2 gates on the side that lead to like roads around Pangaea Castle, but we don't get to see where either of them lead, which is intriguing. I mean, we've never been here before, so I want to see like everything, but
is this like maybe like a residential area kind of thing, or
yeah. But yeah, anyways, we get introduced to the Sorbet Kingdom, Queen Mother Connie. And
dude, okay, so this fucked me up a little bit, and I'm going to keep it short cuz it really like goes nowhere. But reading Queen Mother was like, huh? And then like the lipstick not so much, but the smile.
Yeah.
At very first I was like, is this someone related to Mother Caramel? Like, is Mother Caramel from the Sorbet Kingdom? Like, question mark? And like I told John freaked out for like a split second, and then we all like sat back and were like,
yeah,
I cannot forget about this.
when you said it earlier, you forcefully activated my deep cut no mi in like a bad way, and I was like, is Mother Caramel still alive? Is Mother Caramel like what?
I mean, to be honest, I had the same exact thought.
The theory was the theory spun out of control. It was like, is Bonnie Mother Caramel?
we.
And then after looking at all of the evidence, we reached the point where we're like, oh, maybe this and this, and it was like, oh yeah, wait, no, Mother Caramel got eaten. That was kind of the end of it.
Here at Paramecia Fancast, sometimes we have a little too much fun. And by a little too much fun, we accuse characters that we love of being terrible child
Traffickers.
yeah, exactly. So
Yeah. Fun. Yeah, no.
anyways,
Yeah, it cuts to the Celestial Gate, and Queen Mother Connie is like trying to get through. She's trying to get into the Celestial Dragon's like homeland. And the guards are like, no, like, you can't. Please go back to the castle. You're gonna miss Reverie. Like, you're not allowed here. Go.
they also mentioned that it's dangerous for her to go in, which is relatively interesting.
Yeah, there's a lot of fucking mysterious shit going on. But Charlos comes in being like dragged by his slave, and he's just like bitching about Mjosgard, like, oh my god, whatever. And then so we get a hand like plop down, and we can see Charlos's slave. So immediately we're like, all right, like, this is probably another slave like that his dad has, because we see his dad in the bottom left panel riding on a slave. So it's like, okay, this is another slave. And this is when shit, the like third time in the chapter, and we're only on page 7, that Oda just picked up the monkey shit and just chucked it into an industrial sized fan.
There's so much going on.
So let's break it down. Most important thing, the most visually striking thing is,
yes.
so what's his name?
Bartholomew.
Roswald. No, Saint Roswald. Okay. Roswald or whatever. Charlos's dad. Saint Roswald is riding on top of Bartholomew Kuma, and the like Oda box that is given for Bartholomew Kuma is the craziest and also most enlightening thing, which gets brought up in a couple of pages later. But it's Bartholomew Kuma, former revolutionary armor, also former king of the Sorbet Kingdom. like that is,
like,
bro,
to both mention like the alleged queen, when we say alleged now, of the Sorbet Kingdom, and the former king of the Sorbet Kingdom in like 2 pages within, like, it's, man, what's going on,
bro? I have no idea, man. Fucking Kuma, this is insane. There's some other stuff that gets brought up, but Lindbergh talks about it later in the chapter. So the other thing that's important on this page is Roswald talking about Don Quixote Mjosgard. And he's like, Don Quixote Mjosgard, like, despite being a celestial dragon, he doesn't even own a single slave. What a bizarre man. And then he says, just like Homing, who descended to the lower realms 30 years ago, ... something's wrong with the Don Quixote line, I'm telling you. And it's just like, that leads me to believe, because I know, okay, last week we said that Mjosgard, despite being like, seeming to be a changed
bastard.
man, he is a celestial, so he's kind of like guilty until proven innocent.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he's still unnice.
Yeah, I really think because of this in particular exchange that, like, he's good. Like, I think I can actually trust Mjosgard, because if Mjosgard really had this, like, insane plan to, like, capture the fishmen, I would think, if he was this big of a dick, I would think that some of the other Celestials would know about this. So, like, Roswald being alone with the only other person that's there is his son, Charlos. Charlos is stupid, so he would have said something by now if they knew anything. And then Roswald would have been like, oh, like, it seems it's going according to plan. Like, they wouldn't have any reason to hide it or, like, seem ignorant to that fact if Mjosgard was planning something.
Yeah, exactly. They would know, like, Mjosgard really wouldn't, like, hold it from them or some shit. Like, it would be out there in plain. So I do feel that.
Yeah,
but
and also
it's still kind of scary.
Yeah, no, it's still, we're in the heart of darkness right now, and, like, I don't know, man. I will say Roswald talking about the Don Quixote line and, like, oh, something's wrong with them. I think that I couldn't tell you what it's supposed to mean or what kind of relevance it's going to have, but the Don Quixote family at this point is definitely like an outlier to the Celestial Dragons. Like something very important to the story and very important to the Celestial Dragons like history has to deal with the Don Quixote line in some way. I don't know what, but I feel like we're getting confirmation, like even more confirmation now. Like we already saw it with Homing. We already like saw it with Doflamingo, and like now we're seeing it with Mjosgard. Like there is definitely something off about the Don Quixote line.
Yeah, they might be in the same line of quote unquote traitor as the Nefertiti are.
Yes,
like it might be some kind of flavor of that, because they're the only two people from like they're the only two families from the Void Century that we know of that have gone against the grain, that have gone against specifically the world government in some capacity.
Yes.
So I don't know.
Yeah. Moving on, because I want to jump back to something that happens on this page and the next page later, because when Lindbergh starts talking. So we just get like, oh, he's like, you can, it was my turn to rent him now. And he's like, you can hit him and stab him and he doesn't do anything. And they're just like laughing. And we see Connie, the sorbet Queen Mother Connie, running. And she runs behind cover. And then, man, we get a scene. I can't believe I just ran into him like that. Infiltration successful, and we see her getting younger. Bam! Worst generation pirate, captain of the Bonnie Pirates, Jewelry Bonnie. Like, Bonnie is at Reverie?
Dude, why? For what? How?
Exactly.
Though I kind of have an idea of how, because it's been mentioned several times that she does have a relatively prominent connection to the Marine headquarters, but
yeah, she has connections to the Marines. Whether she can like use them all the time or not, her devil fruit power is and has always been shown as like a stealth devil fruit in a weird way.
Yeah.
Like she's able to be stealth and like sneak into places right in front of your face, and like you would never know. Like when she stole the pizza and she turned into the old lady right after Dressrosa, and the guy was like saw her pass by him, and he was like, oh, like what a weird old lady. And even this, like she was able to like make herself old and seem like the queen of the Sorbet Kingdom.
Which, how would she know who the queen of the Sorbet Kingdom is?
Yeah,
like
I have no idea. This brings up more questions. We talked about this before recording. Like, we really don't know anything about Bonnie, but it's like the mystery surrounding her is what makes her character so intriguing, to me at least. Because like in Marineford, she had connections to Ace, and she did in this chapter. She does a similar thing in Marineford. Like in Marineford, when Ace died, when Ace and Whitebeard died, she was crying. So we assumed that she had some kind of deeper connection with both of them. But now, like, she's seeing Kuma, and she's like, I'll never forgive them, never. And then she's like staring at Kuma just getting fucking abused and stabbed, and just he's mindless and he's dead inside, and she's just like, oh, like I'll never forgive them, and she's crying. And I don't know, it's apparent that she knows Kuma. I just don't know like why she's here. The only thing I can think of is like she said like, oh, I can't believe I just ran into him like that. Infiltration successful. I can only think that she's trying to get Kuma out.
Maybe.
Or she's trying to save Kuma. The only reason I think that as well is because it's this scene is juxtaposed with Sabo on the next page, because Sabo is like freaking out, and he's like, yo, like, look what they're doing to our friend, to the kind Kuma. And all of them are like we feel the same way as you, like we won't let them continue to do that to Kuma. But Karasu's like, however, even if we release him, like he won't turn back. He's done, like basically.
Real quick though?
Yeah, go ahead.
There's a very large backpack with them. It could be like nonsense. It could be like, oh, like the fucking costumes they use to get inside, but what's in the backpack?
I did not notice that.
I don't expect an answer, but
I did not notice that until right now. But now
it's food for thought. It's food for thought.
You had my curiosity, but now you have my attention.
Exactly. Let's keep on going, because like it's a fucking backpack. Let's not focus on that. But just want to point that out.
That's for our backpack theory podcast. No,
Jansport.
Yeah, Jansport Fancast. No, it's Lindbergh has a dialogue that I really like it because it confirms a couple of things, at least to me, but it also like connects with what happened in the other pages. So he says it's precisely because he was once a king of an alliance kingdom that they made an example of him like that. Anyone that goes against the gods, no matter how strong they are, will meet this fate. That's what they're telling the world. The Celestial Dragons have CP0 and Marine HQ behind them. If we mess up and we get captured, and he's just kind of like, oh, they all decide, like, yep, like, there's no messing up here. We either do this or we all die. But what he says there, he's like, oh, like, anybody that goes against the gods, no matter how strong they are, will meet this fate. That's what they're telling the world. And I do like that because, like I said before we started recording, I had mentioned it. I think the reason why he was chosen as the model for the PX model, like the PX robots, the cyborgs, I think the reason why he was chosen was because of whatever he did, like maybe joining the revolutionaries or deciding to go against the world government. Whatever he did, they stopped him forcefully and they made an example out of him. Like they completely wiped his brain of any like sentience, and they just made him this like mindless cyborg. And then they made like not the weapon, like the weapons of the world government are century like robots that look just like the former king that they like weaponized. And it's just kind of like they're showing the world like, all right, if you want to fuck with us, but remember what happened to him. Like we fucked him up and now like we own him.
Man, it's so fucked up.
Yeah.
Moving on. The whole next page is essentially just some, hey, in case you forgot, like, how geography kind of works in the One Piece world.
Yeah.
And also
what
very,
the reverie
like,
is.
Yeah, what the reverie is, specific details about, like, oh, there's 170 countries in the World Government Alliance. There are 50 representative of kings from those countries that come to the reverie, and you turn the page, and a bunch of them are, like, starting to filter in, and you know, this is really showing that it's fucking starting.
Yeah. And I do really like that all of them are talking about like different things, but they're all connected to Luffy. I really like that.
In some way, yeah.
Yeah, like the first people we see talking are like, they're talking about Wano country, and that's obviously where the Straw Hats are heading next. And I mean the Big Mom and Kaido stuff, but it's like the Wano country is unallied, like it's essentially a lawless state. So they're all like talking about Wano, and then they're like, oh, first the assassination attempt on Big Mom, and now he'll go, will he go after Kaido next?
It's just so much, and like, it's very apparent that like Reverie is going to deal so much with Luffy, his past deeds, his future deeds, and now how not necessarily the world government reacts to it, but more just like how these individual countries will react to it. Because he hasn't hurt them in any way. None
for
of
sure,
them.
Yeah.
Except for Wapol, I guess. But like, Wapol's a fucking bitch.
Yeah.
And I don't know. I'm really excited. I have no like theory per se about like what's gonna go down, other than there's probably gonna be some like people that are like, oh, Luffy is good, and there's gonna be some people that are like, oh, Luffy is bad. Like that's just how it is.
Yeah. I couldn't tell you how the split's gonna look, like people on Luffy's side versus people against Luffy, but it's definitely gonna happen. There's gonna be something. I don't know. It's really exciting that like it's actually finally starting.
Apparently all the world leaders, they go in order. There's like a speaking order, and they like keep on going with that order for the entirety of the 7 days. And first on the order is Hamburg, the Bollywood king.
Yeah, Uncle
There are a
Sam.
couple of kings and queens that like we haven't seen before. There are a couple that we have seen before. One being the guy from the Don Chinjiao place.
Kano Kuni.
Yes, exactly, Kano Kuni, and also Hitler's there.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah, Hitler is there.
Oda.
Hitler is there.
Oda.
There's
Come
a
on, Oda.
the guy with the Big Ben beard is pretty cool. Like the clock hands on his beard.
Yeah. Super. Oda always has like very interesting designs for like specific kinds of people. And this is one way where he's just like, he's British. What do I know about like Britain? The Union Jack.
You're from London.
Something you had mentioned to me earlier is exactly like who's sitting where. More specifically, Stelly is sitting right fucking next to King Neptune and not enjoying himself.
I love it. And I just noticed when we were going through the previous page, right in the middle panel, right next to Wapple on the right, Stelly's in the background, like looking around because he's like, "Where's my seat?" And then when you finally see him, the payoff for the little gag in the background is that he's sitting next to Neptune and freaking out.
That's what he gets, bitch.
Oh man, yeah. This double page spread is I fucking love it. I'm excited to see. I think even with what happens in the next 2 pages, I think next chapter is going to it's going to start on the actual conversations happening during the reverie.
I can see that happening. Like that's a very sensible way to start a chapter out after this, because it was the same thing with the hat. We still don't know what the hat really is. He didn't answer that immediately after. He was just like, here's more of reverie. But like, that's all.
And
that's all we're gonna get.
Hat 2.0 this week. Oh my god.
So after that 2-page spread, we turn the page and a couple people are talking. The scenery is the Pangaea Castle in the background, and dialogue starts. The meeting started then. While he's here, Alabas's King Cobra has requested an audience with us. Panel goes down. It's the Gorosei talking to each other, the 5 elders, talking about how 800 years ago the Nefertiti bloodline was the only one that chose to remain in the lower realms. In other words, they're traitors. Mm-hmm. And they're talking about him. Did he notice something? Like, what's going on with him? Yeah, they're kind of
worried. They're like, has he noticed something? Like, I hope things don't go south. Like, kind of like, oh shit, like, do we have to wipe him out?
And then one of them also mentions that, like, the situation with Big Mom and Kaido is also pretty fucking wild, and that, like, it's only been 2 years since the Summit War. Like, everything's going to shit. And that's basically the whole theme of these 2 pages. Everything's going to shit.
Yeah.
And they want to quote-unquote fix it, but them saying quote-unquote fix it is verbatim. These parts are in dire need of a great cleansing.
Yee. Giant collar pull. Like, oh, yee.
Talk about not okay vocabulary.
Yeah, oh,
wow.
Shit. Yeah, cleansing in reference to people is never a good combination. Jesus Christ.
If that wasn't enough.
It gets worse.
Turn the fucking page. Inside Pangaea Castle, the flower room. Who do we see there messing with a butterfly? And mind you, I hate butterflies after Kirby.
Oh shit. Is the Kirby lore canon within One Piece?
It might fucking be. Real quick, for those that don't know, a butterfly has like shown up in the Kirby games, like the 3D Kirby games, like
every
in a lot of the
game.
intros. Yeah, for a lot of them, not like every single, since like way back when, like Kirby and Dreamland, but like a lot of the more recent ones has featured a butterfly flying in, always orange and everything. And, like, if you look at the fucking Kirby wiki, the Kirby wiki, I swear, is crazier than the One Piece wiki in that the Kirby wiki has no leads on anything, but they still make all the claims. And you know what? I buy all of it. I am a Kirby theorist, too. Especially because in the last game, the butterfly fuses with fucking Galactonite.
All right, no, we're done. That's okay. All I needed to hear.
Okay, Popstar, the Kirby Fancast.
Yeah, welcome to Popstar, the Kirby Fancast.
So, who do we see there messing with the butterfly? The same fucking dumbass super crowned figure.
It's that fucking crown!
And we finally get a name. I'M, Your Highness, they have gathered. And then on the floor...
Man. So you definitely called it last week. The other portrait, or the other wanted poster was Blackbeard. Because we could see...
Bitch.
Like, Luffy...
I'm Oda.
Yeah, bitch, I'm Oda. You could see Luffy and Blackbeard's face, like, torn up. Their wanted posters. I will say, I know we weren't going to get the Blackbeard, like, bounty reveal like this, but I was still I was still looking for the piece of paper on the floor that had, like, a number on it.
Like, just like, where is it with a magnifying glass?
Yeah, but, oh, man. And then, the most fucking, okay, there's a picture of Shirahoshi.
Yeah.
That's just, like, stabbed through, the picture stabbed into the ground with a sword. And the other wanted posters are, like, torn up, and Shirahoshi's is stabbed, like, in as if to keep it in place, like, kind of stabbed into the floor. But then we see I'M walking up the stairs to the empty throne, mind you, with Nefeltari Vivi's picture. Silence the entire time. And then the Goros, I'M enters. I'm assuming she, but I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Your Highness, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, technically, like, pronouns and whatnot does not affect gender in a whole kind of, like, gender essentialism kind of way. I'm not gonna get into that. Like, let's just make an assumption, because Oda's a fucking, like, straight Japanese man.
Yeah. Anyways, I'M, Your Highness, we see them there. And then the panel that's, like, the most important is the very bottom right panel of this final double page spread, where you see the Gorosei fucking taking a knee, and then we get the full spread, and they are actually all bowing to I'M, as I'M is taking, like, she's sitting on the throne, on the empty throne. She is sitting on the throne that no one is supposed to sit on. And then they say, the candle that should have been snuffed from history has once again, like, arisen, we assume. He doesn't finish it. And then the other one, hast thou decided? If so, give us a name. And then all we see is I'M's, like, eye. And then chapter 908 end. And we are on, I believe, the other translation did have a note where it was like, we are on break next week.
Yeah. The break next week note is actually, like, on the 2-page panel spread, like, upon the empty throne, ...
Oh, break next week, yeah.
Break, yeah.
Okay,
anyways, What the fuck?
Alright, so we definitely had, like, last chapter, fucking Merlin himself telling Stelly, like, yeah, like, Merlin is in the Celestial Dragon. We assume he's the Celestial Dragon. So he's like, yeah, dude, like, you have to state your like, allegiance to the world government, like, to the throne. The empty throne symbolizes, like, nobody sits on it, because the 20 weapons around it symbolize the 20 countries that fought the ancient civilization, you know, that formed the world government, or whatever, you know, the whole Void Century, like, propaganda that the Navy pushes. But he said himself, like, nobody, the Gorosei are the highest level of authority, and even then there's 5 of them. Like, there is no one true king. And to see I'M just sitting on the throne casually and the Gorosei are bowing to her. That's I mean, I'm gonna say my theory. I think I'M, with all the information we have now, which isn't much, I think I'M might have been the treasure that Doflamingo is talking about, and not necessarily like an object. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely buy that. I mean, there's still a chance that like
Yeah, for sure there is a chance. I'm just saying like
it might be an object or something, but like this is way too much because like Doflamingo referred to whatever it was in Mary Joie that would destabilize the world as they knew it as something that the world knew as a fact, but turns out wasn't. And this is exactly that. In that there was no one leader. There's supposed to be 5. Hell, do we even know that most people know that there's 5 elders? We could assume that. Probably not. Most people don't even know about the 5 elders. Probably just the kings and shit like that.
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, it's... Future! Just holding my head. Just... Dude, yeah, I really do believe that... Because the treasure Doflamingo spoke about, even like 2 chapters ago with the hat, the whole hat chapter, when he talked about it, he said power degrades over time. And the entire time after he says that, we see, now we know I'M. We see like I'M walking down into that cooler. But it's like, maybe that scene was supposed to be like Doflamingo talking about the treasure, quote unquote. And he's like, oh, like, you know, it degrades over time. You guys might as well just say it now. And then Oda just shows us I'M. And maybe it was supposed to be like that all along. Like, fuck, like I'M is actually the true ruler of the world, basically. And like, nobody knows. And like, the fact that he threatened the Gorosei with that is like, shit. Like, because the Gorosei are bowing to I'M. So it's like, her presence is very important, and the fact that Doflamingo was able to do literally whatever he wanted because they were so afraid of like people knowing that secret.
It's just wild.
It's crazy.
And then there's the eye. Does the eye mean anything? I don't think so. I think it's just like Oda's drama eye, you know?
Yeah.
But let's just get it out of the way. What if the eye does mean something? There are other people with that kind of eye. John, who are the people with those eyes?
The only people that we know that have had this eye, like, permanently this way. Because I know you brought up, we have seen multiple characters with eyes like that. Like, we've seen Luffy, we've seen Robin, we've seen Zoro. Like, his eye has gotten like that. But, like, eyes like this, where it's like a full Rinnegan. The 3 characters that have had it all the time are Mihawk. From the beginning, he's had eyes like that. And I know that's probably just explained away as like, oh, like, you know,
hawk eyes. Ha ha.
Yeah, he has the eyes of a hawk. Ha 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 ha. But like,
I think that's verbatim the explanation though.
Yeah, that's how he got his name, Mihawk. But it's like, you know, whatever. But the other 2 characters is I'M and Zunisha. When Zunisha opened her eye towards the end of Zou, her eye looked just like that. Like, it had multiple like rings. It looked like a Rinnegan. It's like, bro, like, again, I'm not gonna sit here and try to be like, oh my god, like connecting the red strings, it has to mean so. I don't know what the fuck it means. All I know is 2 characters that are very steeped in mystery have this eye, so there is some connection. I just don't know what.
Yeah, like, is it something at the end of the day? Maybe. Only Oda knows, literally.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna fucking worry about it. Like,
yeah.
That's where I'm at. But
yeah, I don't know. This I'M revelation is crazy. We did try to do some auxiliary research. like
it got somewhere, but also very nowhere at the same time.
Yeah. So I'll just say what I found real quick, and then like we'll glaze over it.
Yeah.
So like in the translation I read when the scanlations first dropped, they wrote her name as I'M. So I am, so I'M Sama. So I searched up I am in like mythology, and the only thing I could find was that I'M was the son of some giant, and like nothing else. There's like literally the fucking like Norse mythology, like they only mention I'm in like a passing sentence to set up the father, because they're like, oh, like Odin passed through Im's like, you know, room in order to get to the father, and then the entire rest of the story is about the father and Odin. And it was actually pretty cool. It was basically Gollum's like riddle game, like that's what the guy was playing with Odin, but there was nothing about I'm in there, so I was like, well, this is a dead end.
The other thing was a Phoenician or Semitic mythos about a god named Yam that was the bad guy of some story. Yam was like a sea god, a god of chaos or something. The antithesis to a like god, or in the Semitic mythos, Baal, meaning Lord.
Yeah.
Baal Hadas or some shit. And there are references to like a great battle in heaven that like Baal died in or some shit. And it's like, you know, we were in like hyper crack theory, like hyper
the
non-ironic
deep cut no me reached awakening. Like that's what happened.
It really did. I got into it too, and we were just like, yo, like, what if this is like, there's gonna be a war at Marijois? And we were just like, fuck this. Like, fuck that.
Yeah.
No, not anymore.
Yeah, the War of the Gods was pretty interesting. There was also some other fact that it was like, I can't find it anymore. It was on one of the stories, but it was basically like, oh, like there's no real, it's implied that Yam didn't actually die in the war, because in later texts Yam is referenced like in current time as if like it's there. So it's like, well, oh shit, like is Yam alive? And it's like, all right, you know, long stretch, but it's also like, if I'M is like somehow, some way, some kind of remnant of the Void Century, whether she was alive back then or not. I mean, I doubt she was alive back then, but if she was, that would make it crazier.
Yeah, and it's not something we can discount either, because One Piece does get that kind of crazy sometimes. But,
Yeah.
anyways, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Who the fuck knows about I'M?
I have no idea.
Because, like, Doflamingo might know. The Gorosei know.
Yeah, the Gorosei for sure. The people who are in, like, the Might, I don't think, I really do think that this is all, like, just the Gorosei know. I don't even think any of the celestial dragons in Marijois, I don't think any of them know. I think it's really just the Gorosei.
Akainu definitely doesn't know. Like, I super doubt that.
Akainu I don't think he has any idea. I would have to go back. There was one, there was somebody I was watching, and they mentioned when Akainu was talking to the Gorosei, he said something along the lines of like, oh, like, you know, he said something along the lines to them as like, oh, like you guys don't really make the rules, or so. I would have to go back. I can't remember which chapter he met them in. So
maybe Akainu knows. Maybe Sengoku also knows, considering. So that's a possibility. Does Dragon, and therefore the rest of the revolutionaries, do they know?
Okay, I think I found the page.
And y'all, this is not editing magic. He found it quick as fuck. That's it.
Yeah. I don't think the revolution, while I'm reading this, trying to scrub it for something, I don't think the revolutionaries know about I'M Sama.
Yeah, I can see that.
I really think this secret is like hella
well kept. Yeah. I mean, if somebody maybe had to know, I could maybe, man, I don't even know, because like the Nefeltari family were like the traitors. Did maybe like one of their ancestors know? Are there some clues? Like, 'cause like Alabasta was quite literally like fucking 15 years ago or some shit. So maybe there are some details that we don't know that were like dropped back then, but there could be some possibility that like the Nefeltari know something's fucked. Not just like the whole like, oh boo, Shichibuka suck, but an actual like, wow, the world government like blows because they're liars. Maybe.
Yeah, I can definitely see that. I'm trying to think. I'm seeing this on this page. It's like, because he's talking about Doflamingo. He's like, oh, like how the fuck did you guys let Doflamingo like he's scum, like as fleet admiral. Like if something like this ever happens again, he's like, my ass is on the line if you guys do something like this again, because I'm the one who gets all the brunt of it. And then they're like, oh, don't speak to us like that. And he's like, you Marines are merely the public face of the government. We entrusted this matter to Cypherpole. And then Sakazuki says, Cypherpole, let me guess, this business was carried out above even your heads, am I right? Above by those puppets of the Tenryubito. So I think he's trying to imply that like CP0 like has like more power over, or like has a higher standing over them, but it could also be read as like, oh, maybe he has a hunch that like, oh, you guys aren't even the top dogs, like what the fuck. But regardless, I don't know.
Yeah, it really could be a case of like he's complaining about CP0 in general, because like we've been shown that like the Marines don't necessarily like the CP in a lot of ways. Yeah. But you know, he might know. Sengoku might also know. Like, yeah, maybe it's not just Akainu. Maybe like all the way down to fucking Kizaru Aokiji. If Aokiji knows, does that also mean that Blackbeard knows?
Yeah, I have no idea. I don't know. I'm in the camp that I really think I'M is the secret that Doflamingo is talking about. Mm-hmm. I think the only people that know are Doflamingo and the Gorosei. I think other people might have like hunches, but for sure only the Gorosei and Doflamingo, because I don't see, like, at least just from this chapter, from the little we got, to me it's apparent that I'M's very existence, even from last chapter when Merlin, I don't know his name, he looked like Merlin. He looked like a
okay.
wizard.
I was like kind of worried, because I was like, where the fuck did you get this name drop? Is this some kind of deep cut that you did not share with me?
Oh and yeah, so... no. There's no deep cut. He looked like a magician. Like he had like a wizard robe and like a stupid hat. He just looked like a Merlin.
Okay, thank fucking God. I was worried.
Yeah, no, but when Merlin was talking, like Merlin's entire speech was like, oh, like, you know, there is nobody above the Gorosei. Like there can't be one single ruler in this world. Like, you know, we all have to work together, and it has to be like, you know, like a council. Like there is no one single ruler. And the fact that now we know for a fact there is one single ruler that the Gorosei bow down to. I think if Doflamingo knew that, he would basically have them by the balls. And I mean, it makes sense now. Like I said before, like before I thought Doflamingo was talking about a body. Like when we saw the straw hat, when we didn't know about I'M's existence, I assumed that maybe there was like a body there, like preserved. And because Doflamingo, when he talked about it in Dressrosa, he specifically stated the personality transfer of the Opi Opi no Mi, and then the immortality surgery of the Opi Opi no Mi. And those two powers, when he mentions both of them, and those two powers, both of them being used for like with the treasure, quote unquote, would make sense if the treasure was a human being, because he could transfer into that body and then make himself in that body immortal. So originally I thought it was like a dead body, but I guess it would make sense if there is a king above everything, like Doflamingo would, like if that is the secret, if I'M is the secret, it would make sense if he knew that he would want to like transfer himself into the body and make the body immortal, because like
that way he'd rule everything forever, always. Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Jesus fuck.
Yeah, that's like my headcanon theory. Like that's the way I'm thinking of it right now. Because it all hinges on those two powers that he mentions to Law, and like if it was some kind of weapon that like drained life force, like it wouldn't make sense for him to also need the personality shift like power.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. Regardless of all this theory, man, this revelation of Eam's existence is crazy. And then like, why does Eam have? We're assuming from the end of the chapter that the light that's supposed to be snuffed out is Vivi. I mean, because you brought it up earlier. Vivi's picture was chosen, so
there's no question about it. Like, I mean, I can't think of any other way, at least.
Yeah.
So, fuck. Crack theory?
I got nothing, man. Fuck, I don't know, man. Eam is Madara. That's the best I could do. Like, I don't know, man.
Wait. Here at Paramecia Fancast, we quit. We've given up.
We've given up. It took 908 chapters for this fucker Oda to reveal the final villain, potentially. It's like, fuck. I love every second of it, but at the same time, not getting any answers is driving me fucking insane. My two feelings right now are Mailroom Charlie and then Jim Carrey's character in 23. That's how I feel every Reverie chapter we get, because I'm trying to piece everything together, and I want to die.
Yeah.
I want release. I just want the sweet release of knowledge.
Sign us out, John. My head hurts.
Yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, that's going to do it for us this week at Paramecia. Follow us on all of our social media. Twitter, @ParameciaCast. Facebook, Paramecia Fancast. YouTube, Paramecia Fancast. And then ParameciaFancast.libsyn.com. I'm like 99% sure that's the link.
I feel like that's the case.
Yeah. Yeah, episodes go up every week. They're going to... usually between Tuesday and Thursday. It's between one of those days, whenever we get our shit finished. It'll always go up on Libsyn first, YouTube a couple hours afterwards. And yeah, that's about it. Have a great week, guys.
Wonderful week, everybody. We're on break next week.
Oh yeah, we're on break next week, so I don't know. We'll talk about something. I'll say it right now. We're going to talk about something unrelated to all of this, so we can actually like relax for once.
So we can take a fucking break. Cause,
Gee,
goddamn,
we need it. We need it. Have a good week.